Weather forecast first. Sponsored by Anderson Collision Center. Visit driveanderson.com.
Our high temperature today made its way close to that 80-degree mark once again for the third day in a row, but already starting to see the signs of a cooler evening. Right now we're down to 74 in Rockford, 73 Rochelle, and in DeKalb, 69 the current temperature out in Galena. And this is all behind a cold front that passed earlier this morning. That's sitting down to our south and our southwest, pushing all of the rain and clouds with it. And that'll keep us at least somewhat dry for the next several days as our temperatures dip. The primary concern that we're going to see is really the impact is going to be with overnight lows. It will be a little bit on the cooler side. Starting tonight, we're back down to the low 50s for those overnight lows underneath the clear sky. We do have a chance for a few isolated showers going into tomorrow. I'll time those out for you and let you know how long this prolonged chill could stick around. That's coming up in your most trusted forecast a little later.
Tonight, a house fire displaces a Rockford family, how a fallen tree branch led to the damaging blaze. And continuing to honor a fallen Rockford police officer, the annual event held in memory of Jaimie Cox. And preserving history in a small town, Perl City opens its new historical museum that's 30 years in the making.
Live from WTVO 17, this is Eyewitness News at 6.
Good evening, I'm Blake Dietz. Thanks for joining us this evening. We'll get to those stories in a moment, but first, a Rock Falls man learns how long he'll spend in prison for dealing drugs. 55-year-old Thomas Duggar was sentenced to just over 8 years in prison, according to the U.S. Attorney's Office, Northern District of Illinois. Duggar pleaded guilty earlier this year to one count of distribution of 5 grams or more of methamphetamine. Duggar admitted to selling over 55 grams of meth in July of 2021. A U.S. district judge in Rockford imposed a 100-month sentence during a hearing this week. A 35-year-old Rockford man was arrested after police say he had a stolen gun in his car. According to court records, Terry Bailey Mangrum was pulled over by Loves Park police due to a missing headlight. Police reportedly smelled cannabis coming from Bailey Mangrum's car. Upon searching the vehicle, police found a loaded handgun along with cannabis. Police later determined the gun to be stolen. Bailey Mangrum is charged with unlawful possession of cannabis, possession of a weapon by a felon, and possession of a stolen firearm. His mugshot was not readily available. A fallen tree limb this morning leads to a fire that displaced a family in Rockford. That's according to the Rockford Fire Department. Firefighters were dispatched to a home in the 500 block of Webster Avenue just before noon. Reports were of a basement fire. Another call was made at the same time nearby for reports of arcing power wires. Officials say a tree limb fell and pulled an electrical supply line on the home. Residents heard a loud humming and found the home's basement filled with smoke. There were no injuries reported, and officials estimate the damage at $40,000. A fallen Rockford police officer is once again honored with a motorcycle rally. The 7th annual Jaimie Cox We're Gonna Ride Again motorcycle rally was held today. The ride began at the Roscoe VFW post and ended at Crazy Times Pub and Grub in McChesney Park. Jaimie Cox was killed in the line of duty in 2017, and a memorial foundation was established in his honor 2 years later. It supports veterans, first responders, and underprivileged youth. All proceeds from the event went to the Jaimie Cox Foundation. Jaimie's cousin and co-founder of the foundation, Adam Cox, says support grows every year.
We go back 7 years to the very first rally. We really didn't know what to expect, had an amazing turnout, and this is one of our fundraisers that's continued to grow year over year. We have more bikes every year, and we're pretty large, and it's just awesome to be able to carry on Jaimie's mission through the foundation. And we're able to do that from the support that come from these fundraisers.
To support the Jaimie Cox Foundation, you can visit their website at jamiecoxfoundation.org. A link to that can also be found in this story on our website. Just go to mystateline.com. Hundreds are getting dirty in Rockford this weekend. Tough Mudder is hosting its Chicago event just outside the Rockford International Airport. It kicked off this morning. Participants are challenged with obstacle courses of 15 kilometers and 5 kilometers in length. With over 1 million participants since its creation, Tough Mudder calls itself the premier challenge series in the world. 2 participants says that it looks intimidating, but completing it with others makes the effort more than worthwhile.
Just the community. I've been doing this for a while. This is my fourth. Just with the community, doing it over and over again, challenging yourself, different obstacles every year. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, fitness is a lifestyle for me, and this is another way to explore and be adventurous. So this is my second time and really enjoyed it.
Tough Mudder wraps up tomorrow with the final event kicking off at 10 a.m. Perl City celebrated its annual Boulevard Bash today. It's the 12th year for the celebration. The day included a 5K run, parade, car show, and hog roast lunch and dinner, along with live music and, of course, a whole lot of fun. Proceeds from the bash go to supporting the Perl City School District as well as other community needs. One organizer says it's a big reason why people come back year after year.
The crowd just keeps building every year, word of mouth. We try to provide a lot of things for kids to do, for adults to do, and I think what brings the crowd out the most is they know that the proceeds from the day go back into the community and help the youth. The folks that are less fortunate in our community, such as the food pantry, the benefits from that, and so they're just, it's a giving community.
The Boulevard Bash is still rocking. You can head to Perl City to enjoy the Cal Stage Band and a gun raffle drawing. That's all beginning at 7:30. The Boulevard Bash also celebrated the grand opening of the Perl City Historical Museum. The museum was designed by the Perl City Historical Organization. Initial planning for it began over 30 years ago. Momentum picked up when a former cafe was purchased by the organization 4 years ago. It'll house the museum on South Main Street. The president of the Perl Historical Organization says it's especially important for small towns to preserve their history.
All the small towns like to have their own identity, where our history came from, who we are, why we are the way we are versus another small town. We're all tied together, but yet we're all individually unique. And the towns want their own identity, and that's really what we've been about. And we just want to preserve the history. Sometimes some people doesn't care about the history, but there's always going to be another group that wants to ask questions. Why is this like this? Where is this like that? And they'll be able to come here and get a lot of answers.
The organization is always looking for donations to help preserve history. A link to help them can be found in this story again. That's on our website, mystateline.com. Audio tapes of a 2-day meeting between Ghislaine Maxwell, the woman prominently tied to Jeffrey Epstein, and the Department of Justice officials has been released. Coming up, what was said in those interviews and the claims that Maxwell denied.
For the third day in a row, our temperature in Rockford made its way to 79 degrees, but we are going to be a far cry from that over the next several days as we get an early taste of fall. I'll let you know if that brings us any chances for rain coming up in just a few minutes.
Tonight, the Department of Justice releasing audio tapes of a 2-day meeting with Ghislaine Maxwell, the woman thought to have the most direct knowledge of Jeffrey Epstein's decades-long sex trafficking operations. Maxwell claims there was no client list, no blackmail scheme, and to her knowledge, no high-profile Epstein associates who committed illicit acts in connection with the notorious sex offender's crimes. ABC's Catherine Falders has the details.
Recordings released Friday by the Department of Justice reveal exactly what Jeffrey Epstein's longtime associate, Ghislaine Maxwell, said about President Trump during her 2-day interview last month with Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche.
I never witnessed the president in any inappropriate setting in any way. The president was never inappropriate with anybody. In the times that I was with him, he was a gentleman in all respects.
Maxwell shooting down claims pushed by some of Trump's own appointees that Epstein kept a so-called client list.
There's no list. There's never been a list.
And you never heard Mr. Epstein talk about such a list?
Never.
Former President Bill Clinton's name also came up during the interview, despite Trump's claim that Clinton visited Epstein's private Caribbean island more than 20 times. Maxwell said it isn't true.
You're not aware of President Clinton ever going to the island?
He absolutely never went, and I can be sure of that because there's no way he would have gone. I don't believe there's any way that he would have gone to the island had I not been there, because I don't believe he had an independent friendship, if you will, with Epstein.
Back in 2022, the Justice Department told a judge that Maxwell was not to be trusted, saying she has lied repeatedly about her crimes. Maxwell is serving a 20-year sentence following a 2021 conviction for trafficking minors, though she continues to claim she's innocent.
I did introduce him to women. I did, but not. underage women.
President Trump has not ruled out a pardon for Maxwell. Epstein's victims, like Annie Farmer, who testified against her, say Maxwell deserves no mercy.
She didn't just procure girls and women for Epstein, but she herself participated in their abuse.
Shortly after last month's interview, Maxwell was transferred to a minimum security camp in Texas, a rare move for a convicted sex offender. Catherine Falders, ABC News, Washington.
Well, it was another gorgeous day in the state line, and the cooler temperatures are a sign of fall's fast approach. Coming up after the break, meteorologist Jordan Wolf joins us to talk about how long those fall-like temperatures can continue and if there could be some rain next week. His forecast is next.
Now, your first warned weather forecast from meteorologist Jordan Wolf.
It's a really pleasant day across the state line today. Our temperature has still made its way back near that 80-degree mark for many of us, and that was right after a cold front swept through. Now many spots quite a bit cooler here into the evening, and we are also leaning on that less and less cloud cover over the rest of the evening. You can see that showing up pretty well with our Mercy Health SkyTrack camera out in Poplar Grove, brought to us by the Poplar Grove Airport, showing off that decrease in that cloud cover. And underneath that, temperatures still in the 70s. We're at 74 now in Rockford, 73 Rochelle, and in DeKalb, 72 in Poplar Grove, 76 Dixon, but 69 out in Galena. And you can see that pocket of cooler air that's still sitting up to our north and to our northwest. The front itself well out to our east, and you can see that northwesterly wind drawing in that cooler air. Many spots in the 60s, even not that far away, up to the north and the northwest. That front positioned well down to our south and east, and along that line you still see some of those very spotty showers and storms, but locally here things have remained dry, although a little bit on the windy side back behind that front, as we've seen wind gusts anywhere from 20 to 25 miles per hour. A current wind gust at the Rockford Airport right around 26 miles per hour. Through the rest of the evening tonight, behind that front, our temperature will continue to drop, eventually through the 60s and even into the low 50s for those overnight low temperatures going into the early hours of tomorrow morning. A few passing clouds early on, but generally most of the night will remain mostly clear to almost completely clear. And we'll start out the day similar to that, but we'll see a few partly cloudy skies begin to build in for the afternoon. Back to 72, that's as high as we get for the afternoon high. Cool and breezy. We will maintain a chance for a few isolated showers. Here's a look at that with Futurecast. You can see this upper level low pressure spinning off to our north and to our northeast, and we have just enough moisture in the lowest levels of the atmosphere to produce a few of those very spotty showers, likely highest in coverage during the mid-afternoon tomorrow, but even then the coverage not all that great. Probably only about 20 to 25 or 30% coverage of those showers, which means many spots will stay dry at any one given time. Similar coverage may be possible for Monday and for Tuesday, but likely a little bit of drier air near the surface keeps us dry for both of those afternoons. A little breezy though. You see this northwesterly wind could gust around 20 to 25 miles per hour for much of tomorrow afternoon and even into tomorrow evening. And that's also associated with this pocket of cooler air settling in. A few of these very cool overnight lows, not only low 50s for tonight, but we could see a few spots in the upper 40s for the next several nights in a row. 49 degrees Sunday night, 48 then both Monday and Tuesday night. That's more appropriate for the later part of September. That cooler air mass that's really bringing that in will only sit overhead for a few days, really through Tuesday. Eventually, though, that starts to kick out to our east, and we'll see a slow return in our temperatures back closer to average as we head over the next several days. And you can see that also associated when you look with our high temperatures. We're still below average all the way through the rest of the week, but a few spots in the low 70s and even upper 60s Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. Gradually, by the end of the week, we see those numbers start to climb. Still not quite back to the 80-degree mark, but at least reaching back into the upper 70s and a little bit closer to average for this time of year. Isolated shower chance on Sunday, maybe a stray shower or sprinkle Monday and Tuesday, but generally many spots stay dry, and then the trend becomes those slowly rising temperatures, still below average and still very pleasant for that fall-like feel, likely through the rest of the week.
Might have to break out the extra blankets for these next few nights. Thanks, Jordan. Drew's in next with sports. Stay with us to learn more about the Dixon Dukes football team.
Now sports with Drew Collins.
The Dixon Dukes have been so close to first place in the Big Northern Conference for the last 2 years. The The Dukes believe that this season is the year they finally can grab gold. Thirsty for a conference win. The Dixon Dukes have been runners-up in the BNC for the last 2 seasons. In those 2 seasons, they are 15-2 in the conference. Only one team makes up those 2 losses, and that's the Byron Tigers. Last year, Dixon outscored their opponents 543-131. And in Week 8, they were 16 seconds away from beating Byron until they gave up a 2-point conversion to fall into second place again in the conference.
What our kids would say is, we want to beat Byron, and that's a credit to them, their program, their kids, and their coaches. Until someone beats them, they're the best in our conference.
This season, they returned first-team all-conference running back Landon Carnegie. He might be the best senior in all of the BNC.
Yeah, just LJ's a tremendous football player. Both sides of the ball. Finished with, 1,400 yards as a junior.
Just having a guy, he can produce every game. Being able to rely on him, maybe when something's not working, just give the ball to him and he'll do his thing.
I'm just going to do what I can do, rely on the linemen, and whatever they do, I will make work, and yeah.
But the Dukes will not have a Shaner at QB for the first time since 2020, so the Dixon offense could look a little different. Junior Jagger Kemp will take over as QB1. He can make plays with his legs, but he also has a tight spiral with good speed on the ball.
So he played in some second halves last year, and now it's his turn, and hopefully he gets to show everybody what he can do.
Jagger will take us to the next level. He's very relentless. He can do a lot of things other people cannot do.
Personally, I think I'm a pass-first guy, but obviously with LJ back there, we'll still be running to the same. I don't think things are going to change that much. I think we be conference champions. I think we come out here every day. Dukes on 3, champs on 6. That's what we break out to every day, and then looking for that state championship.
Dixon has 2 big guards, Isaiah Chaddock and Dylan Bopees. Chase Simpson will be the center. Xadrian Diaz and Owen Lesage are the tackles. Carnegie should have some running lanes behind that O-line. Defensively, they are led by Jake Whalen. He's a tackle machine. So it appears as if the Dukes should return another good season around the top of the BNC. But will it be enough to finally claim first place? Tomorrow night, I'll preview the Rochelle Hubs. Let's look back at the Bears preseason game yesterday. The Bears beat the Chiefs 29-27. There was a lot to like. But Coach Ben Johnson spoke after the game, and although the Bears finished the preseason undefeated, he was not too happy about the careless mistakes that he saw from the first-team offense.
First 2 possessions was really sloppy football that has plagued us in and out of camp so far, and unfortunately that's what we got here tonight. There was a number of things that we could have done a better job of. Good news is, we'll be able to look at this tape and coach it up with our guys, and I think it's out of our system, hopefully, for us going into the regular season. But yeah, we got to make sure that we start faster on offense and on defense.
The Cubs have a late first pitch tonight. They'll try to take Game 2 of the series with the Angels. They are now 7 games behind the Brewers. Righty Cade Horton will get the nod. The White Sox host the Twins. The Sox have dropped 3 in a row. This one just got started. It is still 0-0 in the second inning. That's sports. We'll be right back.
First One Interactive Radar shows us a clear sky here. That's sponsored by Rockford Glass & More. As we head through the rest of the evening tonight, we're not looking at much in the way of any rain chances over the rest of the week, and a fall-like stretch settling in with afternoon high temperatures in the low 70s to upper 60s for a few days, and overnight lows near or below that 50-degree mark. We're down to the low 50s starting tonight. We will see a chance for a few isolated showers tomorrow afternoon and tomorrow evening, but otherwise things look fairly dry, slowly moderating our temperatures back near average.
Thank you, Jordan, and thank you for joining us. That's our show. We'll see you at 10.